Hi, my name is Ramon Lapenta. I'm a tech lead at CICI, and today I'm going to show you a quick demo of Sanity Studio and how we can create an interface that caters to your content editors, make their life easier, and just basically showcase how Sanity works. Here, we have the base screen of the Sanity Studio. We have all of the content types that we have created for this demo website. We built this website just to show how easy it is to create that. We created this in just a few days because Sanity is really, really quick to put together. Um, Here on the sidebar, we have all the different content types, and this interface here encourages content editors to reuse content because it's all visible here. Let's have a quick look at the page content type, which is where we're going to be creating our pages. You see that the items that have a orange dot have been edited, but they have not been published. That's a quick indicator there. We can create a new one here, and then when we select each one of the documents, we have all of the details here. In this specific case, this website was created with page templates that have no content in them. All of the content is created through all of the different types of components. That makes for a very, very flexible website that allows you to create landing pages that have any shape that you need. The important thing to keep in mind here is that we have full control of all of these fields. Not only the fields that appear here, but also how they are validated. For example, in the case of the SEO fields, we can define how long, how short, how many characters we want to allow for this, etc. And Sanity allows us to really not compromise on the integrity of this data, which means that all of the data that we are saving here, not only we have full control of it, but can be used in different applications like other websites, apps, etc., because we know exactly what the structure of this content is, which makes it very flexible. A few other parts of the interface before we try some content editing. We have this vision plugin is basically just to show for developers to see how the data is being output by Sanity. The media is just a media library. We're going to see the presentation later on. And schedules is just to publish content in bulk and to trigger functions. This is a very interesting part of Sanity, that it allows us to trigger any function when the content is published to trigger other things, to ping an API, to publish to something else, etc. So if we go back to the content structure, let's just quickly create a page. I'm just gonna call this sample. I'm gonna auto-generate the plugin. This is gonna be a landing page. I'm not going to add a parent page to this one, it's just a sample. And then we're going to start adding some samples. But before we do that, let's go to the SEO. Add a title here. And you see how this field is red because it's empty. Even if I start typing, it's not going to turn white until I reach a minimum amount of characters. We can publish that here, for example, to indicate to the content editor that we specifically expect to see between 80 and 160 characters. But for now, let's just copy a piece of content from here, just for the sample. This might be too long, there it is. Then we go back to page data. And we're gonna add an item for the different page sections. I can create a new one here, for example, a 2 columns component. This CMS title is a field that we added just to identify this piece of content within the CMS, which is not used on the actual website. So let's say 2 calls, sample page. We add a title to it. We can add a short intro to this blog as well. And then we have 2 content editors. Here, I'm going to pull up some dummy content make it generate. We'll copy from here. Standard content editor, which allows us to do, bold, links, etc. We can put the same here. Again, the CMS title is not used on the website. This is just for us. Put a text to the button. Put a link. I want this link to be secondary, and for this whole blog to have, for example, a gray background. I don't have to publish it yet. It's saved. It's automatically saved. This indicator here is telling me that I cannot publish the page without publishing this document. But before we do that, let's add one. When I talked about reusability of content, we can basically select any piece of content that has already been added to the site. Let's say I want to add the home news. Boom, that's it. And then at the end of the page, I want to add this newsletter sign up. Now I'm going to publish this one, and then I can publish this page. And now, before we look at that, we're going to go into the site settings and then add an item to the navigation. This is just going to say sample, and it's going to point to sample, which is the slot that we gave to that page. Now, when we publish, this is going to trigger a webhook that is going to build a static version of the site, which is hosted somewhere else. It's not directly connected to the CMS. But we trigger a webhook that makes the website be built. This may take a minute, maybe 2 minutes, depending on the connection. And then when that happens, we can just go ahead and reload this. It has not finished yet, as we can see, because the sample has not appeared. It might just take a second. While that is doing its thing, I wanted to show a couple of extra things about the interface of Sanity Studio. One interesting thing is this who is here. If you have another person that is connected to the CMS, it will show not only here, but for example, if they are editing the same page that you are, their avatar is going to show on the specific fields that they are editing. So that way you know that that person is also working on this same page in the same content. The task is a very unique thing about Sanity. That, for example, if you have a content editor that requires their content to be reviewed, or if they need help with a specific piece of content, they can create a task and assign the supervisor to come and look at their content. Or you can add a comment. Like you see, there are fields here that have comments, and that makes for a very collaborative effort when creating content with Sanity. We publish this one that we have made some changes. The orange dot goes away, and this should now be built. There we go. We have the sample item here, and if we go visit, there's our new piece of content, and then the existing pieces of content that we used before. On a future video, I'll be showing a few extra things about the interface and what else we can do with Sanity.
So hi, this is Danny Bluestone. I'm the Chief Digital Officer at CACI Digital Experience, formerly Cyberduck. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to edit the content using the visual editor. So if I just select the fields, as you can see, it relates to this, click publish, and then bang, the content is edited. So super quick, super easy. You can select any content that you want to edit and simply edit it.
Hello, this is Ramon Lapenta, Tech Lead at CACI. I'm going to continue showing the Sanity Studio interface and a couple of little tricks that we can add to your project. One of them is about AI. Speak the sample page that we created. The implementation of AI within Sanity is quite interesting because it's not a generic implementation that basically just gives you random data. We can create the instructions not only for a set of fields but for individual fields themselves. And these instructions are very useful because it doesn't require a developer to create those instructions. Let's give an example here. If I change the sample page to something that is a little bit more meaningful, let's say the state of web technology, and then on this field, which is the meta description, I'm going to trigger, I'm going to add an item that says create meta description, make it visible to all studio members, and then the instruction is going to be create a short description between 80 and 170 characters that describes the topic of this page based on, and then we add a context, which is in this case is going to be a field. Oops. And I want this field to be the meta title. Then we run instruction. It starts thinking, it starts tuning the field, and it gives me my description. This can be as specific as you want. You can create as many instructions as you want per page, per component. It's very, very flexible. Now, another thing that I wanted to show about the Sanity Studio is that we can integrate basically any type of content coming from anywhere. Like say we have an event section, but the events, you don't want to publish them directly on the website. You want them to come from, say, Eventbrite. We can create a component that pulls from the Eventbrite API and show it on the website, but we can also create a component here within Sanity that shows different fields that allow you to filter and specify which events you want to populate in a component to allow you to be a lot more specific in what you show on the site. We can pull content from Eventbrite directly into the Sanity Studio, or we can pull it directly to the website. It all depends on what the requirement is. The thing to keep in mind about this is that it is very flexible and it allows us to basically create anything that you need to create for your content.